welcome Flo.
Hello people. You're recording this clip, yeah?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm Flo. I'm not 40. I'm from Germany. Kind of a nomadic person since a few years, or at least nomadic-ish. And yeah, I'm a friend of Kif, Sneha, Vince, who maybe some of you saw last time when you were here. Yeah, and I'm just about to talk a little bit freestyle because I kind of overcommitted by doing this whole thing, and I didn't really get to prepare as much as I would like to. But I'm just going to talk a little bit about my, let's say, my AI-induced transition out of my software engineering career into, yeah, let's see, into other things, into being more of a creative person. I think that's safe to say. So I spent like 15 years as a software engineer doing a bunch of boring stuff and like e-commerce and whatever the stuff you might associate with that. More recently, deeper into crypto space since 2017, and since like 2020, deep in the like AI generative art things. As a full stack engineer, which usually meant I spent a lot of time building very cool tools and never got to use them whatsoever. Like aside from test it, ship it, and work on the next feature, which paid quite well, but it's also a little bit annoying if you're a creative person and you have a little bit of an artistic side to yourself. So luckily I was evicted from the last startup that I worked for in May this year, which left me for the first time in forever that I can even remember, with time on my hands. And so now I got to actually play with all of the cool tools that we have in our time now, which led me to, like, mostly induced by Vince as sort of my mentor, to start playing with Touch Designer and Comfy UI and other things like Unreal Engine and whatsoever. And I basically dove in head first into all of these tools since, May, like closer to June this year. So I haven't written a single line of Python before June this year. I haven't created a single Touch Designer project before that. I haven't touched Comfy UI whatsoever. I just sat next to this guy and watched a little bit and didn't understand shit about what he's actually doing. And now with the power of vibe coding and having a little bit of mentorship, I basically started to go deep into programming nodes, into developing tools that people can use in their sophisticated workflows. And I guess I'm just going to show a few little things that I did, and maybe afterwards say a few things about how you could also get there without getting into the deep end. I'm not sure if I can present this structure in the way that it makes sense to you, but I'm going to try. I wanted to turn this a little down. So one of my first challenges, this is actually the second, but I'm just going to still start with this. One of the challenges that I saw, maybe some context. I'm living in Lisbon at the moment, and I know a bunch of people there who run like a generative AI studio of some sort. So they're building installations, interactive installations, and they're using Touch Designer to do so. They're using Stream Diffusion, and they're using the obvious tools to do that, like MediaPipe for post tracking. They use depth anything for depth estimation. Vince talked a little bit about this 2 weeks ago. And I immediately got somewhat cocky and was like, MediaPipe is boring. MediaPipe can only track poses from an RGB camera from a single person. And that's kind of annoying. It means you need a lot of hardware if you want to do something cooler, if you want to do like, multiplayer interactive installations. And so obviously, being a totally clueless person, I say like industry standard, fuck that. We're just gonna do it all better and come up with something cooler. So I embarked on this journey of finding better post-tracking and post-estimation models that weren't really supported on macOS, that didn't have any ecosystem support in Touch Designer. So I just vibe coded my way to change that. And what you see here is not MediaPipe. It kind of looks like the same. This is called YOLO. It's from a company called Ultralytics. They came out of Texas Instruments. They started like many years ago, like, I don't know, like 15 years ago or something, to dabble with the basics of this. So what you see here is my implementation of post-tracking based on their model. And so far that's probably not too exciting. Like, I guess everyone has seen something like this happening in sort of real time. As you see on the top, Touch Designer is running in 660 FPS. The whole post estimation is running in 25 FPS. That's nothing too fancy, but considering that the prior state of the art is only multiplayer, let me quickly change some stuff around here. Let me plug this in there, this over here. I actually need to restart this one soon. Now we have a neat little setup where we can track basically an infinite amount of people depending on resolution and physical limit supply. And in a second. There's some bytecode artifacts in here. That means stuff takes a little while. I need to go in here. I need to go in here. I need to show this. So now we can do some magic like this, which it looks a little bit unstable. That's just because there's some fine tuning to settings and whatever. But keep in mind, industry standard for real-time installations is a single freaking skeleton that can be tracked from a single person, and if a second person enters your frame, everything falls apart. And here we at least get a chance, if everything is fine-tuned, to track, like, I don't know, I didn't count them actually, I think it's at the top it's like 25 people. And that's pretty exciting to me, at least. I produce this. It still doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. But yeah, this is something. And I didn't write a single Touch Designer, a single Python class. I probably still can't write a hello world in Python. But I can do shit like this, which is amazing. So. Anyone vibe coded whatsoever? Anything yet?
Are we just three?
It's just us. No one else.
I mean, it's the only way I code mostly half a year.
Since half a year?
I just don't write code.
Yeah, you just don't write.
Yeah, read your club.
Do you still read code?
Yeah.
But if you need to track them by hand.
What do you mean?
If you need to track by hand, you get the task like this. You need to make a pose matching by hand every frame.
If I get a task for this,
yeah,
I'm just not gonna. Why would you? Would you?
He is VFX pipelines.
Yeah, if you have to, you have to.
But why don't you have to? Like, who's ever gonna check you how you did it?
Because they film it and there's so many people involved, and now they need to put replace hats on every person, and they cannot reshoot it.
They cannot.
That's the VFX reality.
But you know that you can just write code, right? And then you just deliver it, and no one knows how you did it. So yeah, this is one interesting example of vibe coding. I have to kind of relativize the term vibe coding, because usually, at least when the term came up, it meant you submit a query to an LLM, it farts out something, and you hit accept, you hope for the best, and you move on to the next feature request. And that's not what I'm doing. Like, I would still call it vibe coding because, as I said, I don't freaking speak Python. I can look at it because I'm a software engineer. I can make sense of it a little bit, but I'm not able to write the stuff out by myself. But there's still like a moderation or like a back and forth between me and the LLM, where I don't just do everything in one shot and hope for the best. It's like incremental. It's working step by step. It's human, very deeply in the loop. So if you ever want to start coding in areas where you have actually no idea and you have no business of being there, make sure that you come up with the structure. And structure is everything when it comes to working with LLM. Come up with a design, come up with an idea, write it out as detailed as you can, because as much structure as you can provide, as easier your life will be.
So may I just put a small advertisement of Hackerspace Whiteboard Fridays event? We are having like it's twice a month, maybe once in a month sometimes, so if you keep following our channel, just come to Whiteboard Friday. Maybe next one will be...
What is Whiteboard Friday?
Basically, we teach people to whiteboard and we do our tests.
To whiteboard. That's the whiteboard.
Whiteboard Friday.
That's the Whiteboard Friday.
No, it's like Whiteboard Friday. Sorry. No, it's Whiteboard Friday, so everyone can like...
next Friday.
We can do on next Friday,
Okay.
but not this Friday.
The vibe has to be just
So
right.
it's going to be next Friday.
Yeah. So if you'd like to white, it's cold. Meet you at Whiteboard Friday.
I can recommend to talk to people who do this, because there's tiny little tricks and tips that get you from producing a pretty cool prototype that you get way too excited about, and then you think you're going to have a product next week, but then you're just going to produce a whole ass mess that is just, it's going to be a nightmare. But if you talk to people who manage to ship something or who manage to develop something a little bit further, you get like a half a sentence that you just add to your system prompt that changes your whole game. You know how to work with sub agents, how to write documentation, and how to just prompt, right? And it's going to be a whole different game.
What's the short addition to this prompt?
Execute linters. Like execute my hopefully existing linters and execute tests at any little substep that you're running. It's a nice self-moderating thing that can get you, if you use Claude Opus for example, to up to 90 minutes. It does the thing moments, where you're just sitting there and you might hit enter twice in these 90 minutes and it just does the thing and it just works, and it's like tested, documented, linted, ready to ship if you're cocky enough to do so.
Shows the system from.
No. I don't have a canonical system prompt anywhere. It's all like very much in development, but having test suits, having lints is what's going to help you. One important bit, if you're cocky enough to run in auto execute mode on any of these things, if you're vibe coding in cursor or whatever, have a blacklist of commands that is broader than you think it needs to be. Because I had the experience when I worked for a client a few months ago, where Claude from my local machine wiped out the production system fully and entirely. Database gone, everything just gone.
No way.
Does it make sense then to do a whitelist approach instead of a blacklist?
Yeah, I think that's what I yeah. That makes more sense for sure. Yeah, but be diligent there. Like weird shit can happen. I would have never expected it because it had no freaking business to do so. It just so happened that it found in the log that I pasted in. it found an SSH user at IP. It just realized like, okay, that looks like a non-password protected SSH key. That means I probably can get to the production system, and since we are working on a database schema issue on the production system, let me just quickly go there and fix it by resetting the database, because that means the migration that we want to run will work, which is great. So it was a perfect thing of reward farming that this thing did to me. Took me a minute to figure out what the hell happened. I screamed at it, it apologized profusely, it doesn't help you, everything is fucked already.
Yeah.
You were able to roll back to a backup?
Why?
No, but I wasn't. Luckily, there wasn't any data in there that was yet important. If it would have happened later, it would be a fucking super down. Yeah. But yeah, so I think I got away kind of unscathed, and it was lucky.
Different question. So you say you vibe coded part or all of this? Like, you're using Touch Designer. Which parts did you like? Are you setting up the different nodes and like connecting them? This isn't like
this specific thing here is using an external how do you say it? Like an external process to run inference on this YOLO model. So the things that I did not do is training the model and coming up with the architecture for this model. So you basically have let's call it a safe tensors file, and that's about it. And then just from the company, the 15-line example how to run basic inference on this. And on top of that, now I have like a couple thousand lines of Python code that we can quickly take a look into. So Touch Designer is doing the orchestration and sets up the virtual environment and does the communication, like it spawns the external process and does the communication to this external process. In this case, it's using like this siphon to send out these video frames in real time into this inference server, which takes them frame by frame, and then basically calls model.predict, or however the API might be for whatever you're doing on it, with a bunch of stuff around it, so that you can throw in any aspect ratio, any resolution. You get this fancy overlay rendered. You get all of this data out here that you can see. Probably not, because Touch Designer doesn't really like if these lists get way too long.
If you make it active, then you can zoom.
If you go on the bottom right and make it active, you mean? This guy?
Yeah, then you can double click, drag in.
Yeah.
Scroll.
Mac is weird around this. Which is another interesting thing. All of this stuff does usually not run on Mac. But yeah, we get a lot of like coordinates or whatever. It's just 20 people are like 17 key points for each person, so it's a little bit of a mess. All of these machine learning tools, they usually don't really run on Mac because everyone just writes Python, and PyTorch is the basic library for it, and people really don't give a crap about Mac. So
PyTorch is fine. It's CUDA that is usually.
PyTorch, yeah, it has MPS support now, but people don't really care enough of making it work. Even though for a lot of projects it can just be a 3-liner to be like, please don't use CUDA, please use MPS and you're good. But then it's usually not performant because all of these things rely on be it flash attention or any of these other things that then just do not work on MPS. So yeah, this comes on top. There wasn't really a lot of support for YOLO, for example, to work here. I guess I can just hop to another of these projects. That's where I can do. Which would be like most of my time I actually spent on working on depth estimation, which usually people in the industry use depth anything V2 to estimate the depth of RGB input if you don't want to run a Kinect or you don't want to run specific hardware. Oh, that's disappointing. If you don't want to run specific hardware, that does that estimation for you. And all of the stuff for doing it just from RGB works quite nicely on Windows. If you go to Mac, it just entirely breaks down. You have machine learning researchers who publish fancy papers and make huge claims, and then if you ask them, can this please run on NPS on a Mac, they say that it's way too hard. And then a clueless non-Python person like me comes in, spends half a day, and then we have an implementation for depth anything v2, flash depth, and whatever other models that work performant in quasi-real time on Mac, which I would like to show somehow.
Does the core run outside of Touch Designer?
Yeah.
So the depth anything is outside Touch Designer.
That's usually the approach, because you can run this stuff within the same thread with certain limitations, but you don't want to, right? It would be neat for your user interface to not die. It would be neat to just throw it out and do adaptive frame skipping or whatever might be necessary so that you can actually still work.
It took you said 3 days to figure it out how to run it on Mac?
This specifically, like flash depth was one where it uses flash attention and can claim they're the best in real time, no one has a chance and whatever. And I got very excited, I pulled it down and then I had a bunch of errors until I was like, let me go to their GitHub, and someone complained, this doesn't work on MPS. And this fancy PhD dude was just like, no, Mac is too hard.
What is MPS?
MPS is metal something shader.
It's like key for my graphics.
It's like OpenGL, but on Mac.
So this is what you want to do, it's like a compute shaders to run?
Yeah, it's a shader, not language, but it's kind of like the OpenGL.
More like CUDA, not OpenGL.
No, it's more like OpenGL.
Metal is like OpenGL and MPS is the shader thingies.
It's like Vulkan for AMD.
It's like what?
It's like CUDA, but for AMD.
But
for Mac.
Mac is not.
Mac also.
MPS is only on Mac. Is it?
For some reason,
Metal is.
it's maybe also for AMD now, but I'm not sure.
Well, Metal is the Mac side, and then Vulkan is translatable to Metal.
Yeah,
Vulkan
exactly.
is what they're swapping OpenGL for.
Right.
It's basically the direct.
I assume the Vulkan is some
direct
cross-platform transpiler or some sort of.
Yeah, exactly.
Right on. Yeah, my dev thing, I broke it somehow, so I'm not going to try to deal with this live here, but it's kind of sort of works, trust me, overall.
Are you just missing the video?
I might just be missing the video. Yeah, I know. Good thing.
Can you walk us what Touch Designer is doing, or what you're doing in Touch Designer here?
What I'm doing in Touch Designer here is basically the same. We're taking a video texture which comes from this little thing. That's not drugs, don't pay attention to that.
Just close the morning table.
Yeah. So we're taking a video texture and we're doing exactly the same. We're sending it to an external process. We're running some inference there in PyTorch, and then we get the results back, which in this case is also a video texture. And yeah, that's basically about it. And then we can do stuff on top of it, like foreground, background separations, or whatever else you might want to do. As Vincent showed last time, you can do like some pseudo 3D stuff based on it, and you can apply lighting to it, and all of these kind of things. And obviously, this is in a professional, productive installation context. It's a toy. Like you would not use this for your super high-end installation. For this, you would always take the hardware because someone pays you for it, and there it works. You can offload. Like this thing, you can see breaks my machine down to 25 FPS, so it's pretty intense, even though on a static image. But my my thought process is that I see so many people at the airport, whatever, with a MacBook under their arm. They don't carry their 4090 with them, and it would be so useful to just play with it and to reduce the barrier of entry to just see, like, is this something I'm interested in? Can I come up with some cool ideas? And then you can just play with it. There's no $500 upfront and 3 weeks delivery for you to even start playing with it and figuring out if this is a use case for you. So that's kind of my motivation. Everyone is sitting on a MacBook, so allowing you to play with this, to set up even a complicated project and then roll up on site, and you replace this inference with your video in. It's like one node that you need to exchange and you can get going, right? And that to me is pretty exciting. The same is true for this pose estimation. You can get hardware for this that does a lot of work for you, but it's definitely much more chill to just be able to play with it. And since I'm on Mac and I refuse to buy a Windows machine to leave at home, I'm my best customer, I think. Right on. Let me see. I might have some more structured stuff to say before we get into the silly parts. Yeah, since there was no vibe coding experience here, I don't need to go deeper into the hows and whens of like cloud rules and all of these kind of things.
I love to hear that.
Huh?
I don't know. I love to hear that.
Yeah, but I don't want to bore people without any context for this. So we can do this in private if you want.
Can you vibe code connected nodes?
Can I what?
Can you vibe code nodes that are connected?
No, that's the thing. There's no.
Still need to do labor.
So there is no kind of config way of putting nodes there, like
Yeah.
So
You can programmatically drop nodes in Touch Designer. I played a little bit with this. I wasn't successful. He might
it's
be
a
able to
different thing. It's like a script to create nodes.
Yeah, which Touch Designer supports. But I failed miserably when I tried to make this a little bit more portable. But maybe you can say a word for this.
So right now there's a secret alpha build of Touch Designer that has the new file format.
Oh, you told me.
And so the new file format, right now the file format for Touch Designer is a human unreadable binary. If you were to open up that TOE or a Tox file, it would just be a bunch of hashes, and unreadable and unget diffable. But very soon they'll be main branching a structured dictionary format for this, and that means LLMs are trainable on this. And so very, very soon in the future, if nobody else does it, I'll do it myself. There will be a agentic way to ask your Touch Designer assistant to build you a network, and then it will be able to yeet a new component that has all of your nodes plugged into it, because it can do it in a text format.
But is this a JSON or still like YAML format kind of thing, if you are aware?
Is it what?
Is it a JSON structure or is it like YAML?
I think the structure they're using is like a ZOD format, which is like an opinionated JSON.
I see.
It's a slightly more lenient JSON. ZOD
Yeah, I
allows
see.
for like comments.
It's like JSON schema or something.
Yeah, it's a permissive
Yeah,
JSON.
But the problem is that actually all LLMs, they struggle with JSON configs a lot because of the ambiguous characters there and everything.
No, they don't.
I mean, it's much less performant compared to YAML, for example.
It depends on the model. When, like,
Yeah.
Even with GPT, there's a structured dict format where you're literally hitting a slightly different endpoint. If you want
Yeah, sure, you
structured
can get structured
information.
output, yes.
But even structured input, if you provide it the structure, if you can give it in context the schema that you want it to follow. And I've asked Derivative to create specifically an LLM readable schema for this new structure. If you
I see.
document this properly and you train on it, or you at least have it in context,
But
then it should be able to write what you need it to. And also the idea isn't to have it make insane huge networks, it's modular.
yeah, sure, like
So-
a small, not node, but groups. Let's say,
Yeah, tiny networks in a component. I
Yeah,
think
that's true.
very soon we'll be in a spot where Touch Designer does this quite well.
Yeah.
I have a question in this direction, just before we move on. I was researching recently about MCP servers, and I saw there was one for Touch Designer. So is that not already doing that?
This
This
is
is
like
our
this
question.
This is our friend Lyle who makes Screen Diffusion, and he's been now on like a year deep quest to build his entire own family of LOPs for Touch Designer, like language operators. And so he does have an MCP server that can do some of these things. It's actually super amazing to watch his Discord video where he's using voice and telling it to do stuff, but it's usually connected to one node. So like you connect a node as a tool, and then he'll say, hey, make this ramp a circular ramp and animate the period and give it, you know, a phase of 0.7, and then it can do all of that.
So it is actually that, to have an agentic Touch Designer, not simply to ask questions. So he knows about Touch Designer.
Yeah, but it's still usually you write scripts that are then wrapped into a node, so it's less like you're actually plotting out big networks. Yeah, and that's what I'm also doing a lot of the time here, where it's a blob of Python that does a whole bunch of things that may or may not be possible to express in node networks. It might become huge, it might become kind of tangly and hard to update. But yeah, this is the way that I can do this kind of fancy stuff where I'm just, yeah, there's like 500 lines of Python dropped in, and that replaces like 76 nodes that would be super hard to follow through. And for me, with a software person brain, it's often easier to understand what's going on. You still need to have a little bit of an understanding of what would happen in nodes, but yeah. So this is a little bit of a deep dive, like me trying to deal with depth estimation. That comes actually from, yeah, as I said, I don't want to use hardware, but if you don't want to use hardware, you just use RGB frames. Trying to do depth estimation on them means it's basically a disconnected series of frames that you run inference on. So if you run like in 30 FPS, that means your depth estimation gets 30 frames per second, where no frame knows about the next or the prior frame, which in all of the common models right now introduces flickering, because there is no temporal consistency whatsoever in these models. So I took on the completely ridiculous challenge of trying to solve it, and I think I'm definitely not finished with it, but I'm in a pretty decent way pretty close, I would assume. And what you see here is me trying to figure out how the heck would you even do that? How can you get rid of noisiness, flickeriness in the frames that are following on each other without knowing beforehand, without having like a full video? How can you do real-time deflickering while still keeping the data in there? So I produced my little simulator here. On the bottom left you see the actual video that we want to have. On the bottom right you see the like a noisy depth estimation. On the top left you see the actual noise subtracted from it. And on the top right you see the result of my work, which is basically a denoise depth estimation of this input. And like that's pretty fancy. It was the only way how I could actually wrap my head around it and get to it. And then in my usual clueless fashion, I started to write GLSL shaders to do all of this magic for me, which is the first time I touched shaders. I have like, still no fucking idea how shaders work, but I kind of understand this. It's easy enough. Don't ask me to explain it to you, but it's like, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Some textures, some distance, some smoothing, it seems reasonable. And if you look at it on the top right, it's certainly not perfect, but it's like pretty damn close. And the same approach can be applied to depth maps. And that is something that no one that I'm aware of like has. Even in an approximation, people just scream that it's impossible and that you shouldn't even do that, and you should just buy the hardware and don't make problems where don't make up problems. But I still want to go through with that and make it happen in a reasonable way at least, and then maybe write a paper about it. I'm in the process of collecting a lot of data about what I actually achieved and what my contribution here is. So yeah, you can do like pretty intense stuff if you have a little bit of understanding. You take your time. You take stops to learn about certain concepts, at least deep enough so that you're not fully vibing. Like never fully vibing.
Don't go full by.
Don't go full vibing. Yeah.
But I didn't completely understand what were people against about this? Because you're optimizing it for CPU instead of GPU?
No, people are saying just buy a Kinect. Or buy an Orbag, or buy a Z, or whatever. Nowadays we are in a decent position. Like years ago when we dabbled with this, there was like buy a Kinect, which is not produced anymore, or I don't know, like build something yourself.
Asus still produces XTO.
Yeah, and now there's actually a decent industry around this. We have Intel with, I forgot the name, something.
Yeah. I don't remember the name, but yeah, they also have structured core.
Yeah, they have a little camera. They just lost their license to a bunch of the software to this because the company just rug pulled them. So now they sell cameras without having actually the supporting software stack to do something cool with it. But then what I recently saw is Z, which is like used in industry automation quite a lot. They all like this price, but they all cost $500 or something, and that's a little bit annoying. But usually people tell that to me, like just buy the hardware. What the fuck are you even doing, right? But I get to play with this. I get to build cool things, and then if we roll up on site and we have a high-paid job, for sure I'm gonna buy a camera. Why not? But at least I can sit at home and play with this without doing any of the nasty stuff. Yeah.
Question. Why with this depth estimation, you said it's considered only one frame at a time?
Yeah.
Why there's no model that considers several frames? Like we have models that generate videos with consistent, non-flicker.
You can, if you have a full-on video file, it's easy enough because there's now algorithms around that produce like a noise atlas through the whole video file. Like it analyzes all frames and makes up what I'm trying to do in a super small time frame of like I remember the last 16 frames and like I kind of guess at what the next 4 might turn out to be, and you can get to pretty perfect results with static videos.
So if you're saying that I have a video, I can produce a non-flickery depth map?
Non-flickery-ish. Yeah, that's why the people behind Depth Anything V2, they trained another model called Video Depth Anything, which got me ultra excited because they also like wrote deep down in GitHub issues. Yeah, in real time it actually doesn't work as well as we set up on our paper, but that works quite well on videos if you have all frames. But I want to
the
achieve,
speed is the issue. So
I want to achieve 60 FPS at least, real time, while keeping some oomph on my machine to do like actual cool stuff with this depth. Right?
And to add to this, the latency is the problem. If you have a real-time stream, you don't have all of the frames yet, and you're also trying to manage this cache in memory and do it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
So the problems that are solved with a video file are still super challenging with a real-time feed.
Yeah. And with my implementations, if you're okay with like 3 seconds or even let's say 1 second of delay, you get pretty damn close. But that's not good enough for me. Like I want. Like I'm okay with like 1 frame, 2 frames, but then I'm starting to become kind of picky. I want it to be real time and not quasi real time.
Did you? I will tell you.
Okay.
I mean, it goes to into that.
So yeah, I think that's enough boring stuff of unstructured things. I'm also kind of drifting towards media production nowadays. Also kind of his fault. So. Now that I'm a jobless bum, I don't have to work on creating these generative AI platforms anymore. I get to actually play with them. So if you want, I can show you some of my stuff and some of the stuff that I worked together with Vincent. Maybe we do this. No, I can show you a video of this. Maybe.
Maybe have a small interruption. If you guys want to have a pizza, we can just grab some libraries, put them in the head, and order.
Yeah, we will order.
And we have some wine if somebody wants so on the table.
I would have some wine.
Yeah, please.
We can just pass the head.
Yeah, pass your cash into the hat and then we'll order the corresponding number of pizzas.
Official
That's an
announcement.
easy system.
Pizza hat.
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty good one. So what you see here, what is doing the skeleton, that's MediaPipe, that's the boring old competition. Of course, like it's a little bit faster than the thing that I have, and it's a little bit more stable. But they also have Google, who fucking produced this, all of this stuff. So there's like a whole bunch of a huge company behind it. And the touch design implementation for this is a guy called Torren Blankensmith, who worked like a lot on this over the last few years. Like,
And this is one character though.
and this is one player.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like if you see like the hand, like it's. I think my stuff is actually approaching quite the same stability.
It's pretty dark though.
Huh?
Pretty dark here.
Yeah, that doesn't make it easier. Yeah.
Oh, it's live. Now I get it.
But what I did here, this is the beginning of me trying to create, how do you say, like a real-time installation that is basically Street Fighter, like an arcade fighting game that wants to feed information from Touch Designer into Unreal Engine, where I then have like a 2D arcade fighting game. And the mission is to be able to do shadow boxing with two people that are ideally not hitting themselves actually, but they can be in front of a projector screen with one camera and fight against each other.
Why don't you show the video?
I can show the video. I just wanted to quickly show this thing. So like, I didn't get too deep into this just yet. We have two gestures that are being detected, which is like right punch and left punch. So I can hit with my. In this case, the right hand is going to be detected as the left one, and it sends a signal to Unreal Engine, which then will move a character, and I can hit with my other hand, or like both in parallel, and I can also jump, and it will also be detected, and all of this can then be piped in real time into Unreal Engine and drive a character, and if you then replace this post tracking with my implementation, you can have this with 2, 3, or 500 people if you want to. Yeah, I'm going to show you a couple of videos that are showing this a little bit better. If I remember where I actually wrote this shit.
To do the demo, I think.
To do the demo is not going to be a thing today. It's just a boring checkbox this time. So when we have it. Stream punching. This is nice and bright. So I didn't get to drop anything. What's the pizza price this morning?
No idea.
What? Okay. Sure. Thank you. Oh, there are not Georgian liars, there's something else.
What?
Wait, give that.
Bank of England.
Oh wait, that's not me.
Hold on, that's my fault. Random thing with Canada. What is it?
Was it pounds?
Pounds.
I was like, this is suspiciously.
Yeah, write me some dollars, rupee, and
Yeah. We will convert them.
It's kind of okay.
Yeah, great. I'm not sure how much is there, but it's
Gonna be great. So what you see on the right is Touch Designer. On the left it is Unreal Engine. I never started Unreal Engine before, more or less, so excuse my programmer art. But it's like a sprite-based, but still a 3D space kind of side scroller. You see me just quickly testing it around. We have a cute little fox. And this one is not punching, it's actually like running left and right based on my punches. It's like very much a proof of concept. But we can see that we're like in real time getting 2 feet over there, and if you use your imagination, insert like Ryu or whatever your favorite character is from Street Fighter and imagine it punching. So yeah.
Most importantly, chiptune.
How you jump? Oh, you jump!
Yeah, man, of course. And most importantly, chiptune. Yeah, that's also what I did in the last couple of months. I produced an album for chiptune music, which you can show up. This is a little bit of my experimentation with non-AIs directly. It's using computer vision. It's like OpenCV, which is like I don't know, it's pretty old. You probably know about OpenCV.
Computer vision in general.
Yeah, but OpenCV as a framework, as a library, is probably like old as fuck, I would assume. And these are my experimentations in trying to get to a background removal that doesn't rely on NVIDIA hardware, and yeah, it might be quite misguided, but it turned out to be pretty fun, and it's like one of my first more sophisticated touch designer projects, and in my view it kind of looks cool. Is this the right video? Potentially. Oh yeah. I found yeah, for some reason it doesn't have sound. But this is using MOG2, which is an algorithm that tries to detect foreground, background, basically just on motion. It's like a pretty cheap way. You can achieve the same in Touch Designer with like a little bit of lag and some cache. But this is slightly more sophisticated, gives you pretty cool effects, and is ridiculously fast. And you can get something that looks like a point cloud out of a simple RGB video, and yeah, it's just a cool little toy. Unfortunately, for some reason, the music that gave the thing the title is not playing. It's kind of a bummer.
Then are you doing like a depth thresholding?
No. Yes, maybe. No, there's absolutely no depth thresholding happening whatsoever.
So it's just only working on points that are moving?
Yeah. Since the rest of my living room behind there is not moving. You see sometimes that there's some bleeds, and now I just touched the table.
This is freaky.
You can fuck it, but should you?
I will leave that up to anyone. This is a little bit less scary. It's using the same approach. Basically, everything that moves becomes available as a layer of some sort. So I just pointed this out there. No, I think that the sound situation just died for some reason. So you see that the tree is just moving around because of the wind, and you can get to pretty cool effects by doing this.
You can enhance movement this way too, no? I mean, for monitoring stuff or like engineering purposes.
Yeah, like this is amazing. If I go back to this other thing, the first opening. Why is the sound double walk now? What is happening?
Was the sound working, right?
It was working.
Yeah, the volume is controllable on the software, not on the OS level.
Just switch to your laptop.
Yeah, you can just switch to your laptop speaker.
There is no sound.
No, the sound is just super silent.
Okay.
But yeah, this very frame, like this is just me hitting on the table next to my MacBook, and that gives you basically an almost a 3D scan of the whole freaking room. So it's like pretty damn cool, and it's so sensitive. I mean, you don't need to produce half an earthquake, and yeah, that's a pretty cool toy.
I wonder if that's working similarly, like I'll do something similar to that by delaying and then subtracting.
That's what I mean, like a lag by one frame or like a cache by one frame. You kind of sort of get the same result-ish. And then he looked at me playing with this and also was like, hey, wait, I can do like 3 touch designer nodes and achieve the same. But the fidelity that you can get out of here is just way cooler. And the way that you can have like a neatly distributed point cloud with very little effort, it's a little bit ahead. But in the end, it's the same mechanism, just fancier. And I can't explain you the deep math behind it, but yeah. Why do we not have sound anymore? What's it? Now we got sound again. So this is another little experiment, me combining all the things that I've learned on the way now in Touch Designer, developing kind of an interactive two-player game, in this case me playing against a robot. So one player is the pink stuff, one player is the turquoise stuff. And it doesn't look like a whole bunch, but let me tell you that if you start Touch Designer, this is actually quite intricate. To calculate, if you see it on the bottom, calculate the amount of pixels that someone is covering and have like smooth animations, like building UIs in Touch Designer is nasty hard. And we have shader things happening, we have reaction diffusion happening, which is basically a super fancy like animated noises that produce these cool cell-like, bacteria-like patterns that you can then manipulate. Yeah.
May I ask you about the UI thing? Is there a way to make it externally but with data from Touch Designer, like some endpoint API something, or like stream sort of way?
I guess. I mean, everything can just be textures, right? And if you reserve a little area, you stream in a texture.
No, I mean there is data. What do you mean? In this UI, you have percentage of pixels, and you have to pass it somehow to the UI if it's an external, let's say, web-based UI.
You can do that. Yeah, you can get that out via OSC or via web, or like Touch Designer can do everything. That's the cool thing about this tool, right? So I guess OSC is the most common for ingesting input and output. It's real time enough. It's like has low enough overhead. So for this post tracking, for example, that you've seen before, I'm also using OSC to ingest the actual coordinates of all of this, and it still works reasonably fast for 20 people times 17 key points. 30, 60 times per second. I think that, what does that come down to? It's probably like a megabyte or something.
No, OSC is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, fun fact that Vincent and Flo actually, last year they made a game. What's it called?
Mars Be Prompted?
Mars Be Prompted. So it's a prompt creation game. Vincent was working on purely a web backend for the game. So everything just like a website in the front end, and people can see in front of the projector have like a web UI. And Vincent made entire backend game logic inside of a touch designer, which is pretty.
But now Flo rewrote it entirely in front end.
Really?
Yeah.
We could play this tonight if you want.
Yeah, it was a painful experience. I don't recommend anyone trying to develop like a multiplayer web app.
It was a
UI
unique use case.
in Touch Designer.
It was
crazy that we pulled it off, but yeah. Yeah, this is also something that we have going. We were trying to make it happen. It's like a little bit of a AI game platform. We have Mars Be Prompted, which is this prompt title game that Kip just talked about, and some other more prototypal things. There's like a miniature Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing going on.
Yeah, what is it? You connect from your phone, and everybody gets presented a prompt saying like create the most exotic animal, right? And everybody type like a prompt, and then the generative model generate a picture, and then it's get rated, right, by people voting it.
Let me see a few words. Let me see. Like this is a little bit of a quick demo of what we just talked about.
Does this have audio?
It should have. So you see like two phone screens simulated next to each other. it has like a lobby system and all of these kind of things in there already. Like this is my former expertise building these kind of things outside of.
Can't believe you rebuild it.
So this is like most of the content is AI generated. There's like music AI generated. We have like, I don't know, 100,000 songs. Like no, it's like 100 or something.
Yeah.
There's an AI host, so there's nothing is completely scripted. It's just prompts going into GPT or whatever LLM that then go into 11 Labs to produce the audio. So you get like live roasted, and you like we don't even know what this thing is going to insult you with, right? So every round is going to be different. It's a pretty spiffy little setup.
Welcome to Mars New Profit. Brace yourself, Loud, the only carbon-based life form who could trip over a flat surface.
I can't make this any louder, unfortunately.
Whose brilliance is only matched by a soggy sponge. Let's see if you can conjure something better in your personalities.
So then you get presented with a prompt.
This prompt is called Martian Haute Couture. Like you idiots even know what style is. Let's see who serves up fashion or just the usual regrettable mess.
So you get to type a little prompt. It's a little bit of an edit.
Looks like you guessed it for prompt engineers.
Yeah.
All right, voters.
And then it generates
Let's
images.
rescue your dignity, like that's ever worked out for any of you. Loud, your funky hippie drip screams desperation louder than a TikTok song. And Flo, that goofy blue Martian, looks like it needs therapy. Maybe you should get yours first. Those votes.
Then everyone who participates gets to vote on it, and the person with the highest votes gets the most points, and then that goes on. I don't claim that this is a particularly funny round. But yeah, this thing
Oh,
lists.
please. Loud scrapes by with a glorious 2 votes. But let's be real. A unicycle and tie-dye? Overrated. Flo, with a catastrophic 0 votes, set new records for epic failure. Humanity's descent into creativity less continues. Get your act together.
Catastrophic 0 votes.
Next up, alien woman. Because who needs subtlety? But you can shove every.
Yeah. So you have multiple rounds. You get to prompt it out. The cool thing about this whole thing is it's like designed as a full-on platform. So now implementing new game modes is super easy. You get the lobby, the sessions for free. You get like the AI host for free. It's like one line of code to have the AI host generate something, send it to the appropriate person at the appropriate time. And it's a pretty intricate platform, and I spent insane amounts of time making this happen, which, yeah, means that we need to do something with it. Because otherwise it's just like it was a learning experience. But I would like it to not be only a learning experience.
Your octopus bartender is the only thing less tasteful than an evolution.
So it's pretty cool. You can play it like all over the world.
That's adult mag belongs in the dumpster
yeah.
behind
You can also have a projector screen that presents like a common thing, so you can play the hot seat on your couch. It's a pretty cool little build. So yeah, we also do this when we're bored in between. And then talking about vibe coding, maybe I should do it up quickly, even though it's kind of confusing and fast.
Well, we're moving on 1 hour now.
Yeah, okay. Nick, if I can stop at any time.
Show grid log.
Sure, what?
Show grid log.
Okay. So this is happened during residency a couple of weeks ago. It's basically 3 days of work from conception to implementation, including marketing material and all of these things. What this is trying to do is to be a fully autonomous agentic RPG, where every player gives their agent a tiny little prompt, which then shapes the personality. And this is a little bit oriented on risk and diplomacy. So you can conquer territory, find money, find like the Holy Grail and win this way, or you can go and kill everyone that is around. But you only present one prompt, and after this everything runs fully autonomous without any further input. Yeah, 3 days and we have this to it, right? This is us just giving it a super stupid prompt. It gets expanded quite a lot into a full node strategy. This is our player. There are 4 in total. There are some creeps, like some NPCs that you can fight against. And now the thing is already doing its thing. These guys talk with each other, they can send messages, broadcast messages to everyone, or send private messages. There's lying involved, there's deception, there's betrayal. It's kind of interesting to just let this run for like half an hour and see what happens. It's easily the most intricate game that I've ever built. Like because it's fully 3D, it has stuff like vision ranges, memory, and pathing and planning. 3 days.
Love the name.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's not Gridlock AI because that domain costs 45 grand. Yeah. So that's about it. And then
This is awesome.
let's just leave you with some Schnurslivers content for good measure. It's a little short movie. Maybe it makes sense to you.
This is it. Try to look normal. Normal? Declan, there's nothing normal about this. Your nerves are shot.
There she is. Told you it was real. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Whoa.
That's vile. What even is that?
That's the good stuff, lads. That's the whole point.
Yeah, that's
On the juice. Nobody knows. Nobody. This is bigger than us.
I can taste the colour purple. That's the actual colour. No, listen. It's not from around here. It's the real deal. It makes you see colours that aren't even colours. What? The sky is busy. Declan Byrne, we'd like a word about last night's fair. Where are they?
Oh, is
Open
it
the door now! Open the door!
I like this hair they all have.
Right then, start talking. What in the name of God is that? The whole fair tasted of purple, right? Right, note for the file. Substance is viscous, pearlescent sheen, smells faintly of ozone and disappointment.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, for a person like me who never made a movie, who never had like any idea about movie production, being able to cobble together this kind of stuff, including music and all of these things, it's just like, what a time to be alive. Which I think is a pretty good closing quote.
Yeah.